There exists a nation never colonized by European powers, where Christianity arrived in the 4th century and never left, where ancient kingdoms carved churches from solid rock and built castles in the clouds, where human ancestors walked 3 million years ago, leaving footprints in volcanic ash. This is Ethiopia, not the Ethiopia of famine imagery and aid campaigns alone, not the Ethiopia reduced to poverty by those who have never stood before a 900-year-old church carved entirely underground. This is the Ethiopia that preserved Judaism when it disappeared elsewhere, that defeated Italian armies when Africa was being divided, that maintains traditions unbroken since biblical times. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notifications. You're about to discover the Ethiopia the world never told you about, the ancient civilization that exists beyond the headlines, the experiences that transform how you understand human history. This journey begins now. Lalibela contains 11 churches, carved entirely from solid rock in the 12th century. King Lalibela ordered the churches built after a vision instructed him to create a new Jerusalem in Ethiopia. The churches were carved from the top down into the volcanic rock. Workers stood on scaffolding and chiseled downward, creating the roofs first, then the walls, then the interiors. The process took decades to complete. Bet Georgis is the most famous church carved in the shape of a perfect cross. The church sits 15 meters deep in the ground, accessed by a narrow trench carved through the rock. The interior contains carved columns, arches, and windows, all from a single piece of stone. No blocks were assembled because everything was subtracted from the existing rock. Bet Medhan Alam is the largest monolithic church in the world, measuring 33 meters long. The churches are still active, with priests conducting services daily. Pilgrims come from across Ethiopia for religious festivals. Lalibela teaches that faith can move mountains by carving through them, that medieval engineering achieved the impossible without modern tools. Axum was the capital of the Axumite Empire from the 1st to the 7th century. The empire controlled trade routes between Rome and India, making it one of the 4 great powers of the ancient world. The empire minted its own coins, featuring kings wearing elaborate crowns. The coins were used throughout the Mediterranean and Middle East. The obelisk of Axum is a 24-meter granite stele, weighing 160 tons. The obelisk was carved from a single piece of stone and erected around the 4th century. Italy stole the obelisk in 1937 during the occupation, but returned it in 2005. The stele was re-erected in its original location after being shipped in 3 pieces. The Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion supposedly houses the Ark of the Covenant brought here by Menelik I, son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, according to Ethiopian tradition. Only one guardian monk is allowed to see the Ark. No one else may enter the chapel. Axum teaches that African empires were global powers, that some mysteries are protected by faith, that ancient engineering moved stones weighing hundreds of tons. Gondar was Ethiopia's capital from 1636 to 1855 during the reign of Emperor Fasilides. The city is called the Camelot of Africa because of its medieval castles and palaces. The royal enclosure contains 6 castles built by different emperors in the 17th and 18th centuries. The castles combine Ethiopian, Portuguese, and Indian architectural influences, creating a unique style. Facilities Castle is the oldest and most impressive, with 3 stories and a crenellated tower. The walls are 2 meters thick, built to withstand cannon fire. The castle survived Italian bombing during World War II, though it was damaged. Debre Berhan Selassie Church has a ceiling covered with painted angels. 80 cherub faces stare down from the wooden ceiling, creating an overwhelming visual effect. The walls are covered with biblical scenes, painted in vivid colors. The church survived Muslim invasions, when bees supposedly swarmed the attackers. Gondar teaches that African kingdoms built castles rivaling European ones. That architecture reflects diverse influences. That art preserves faith across centuries. That Ethiopia developed independently from European models. Harar is a walled city in eastern Ethiopia, considered the 4th holiest city in Islam. The city has 82 mosques and over 100 shrines within its walls. Founded in the 10th century, Harar became a center of Islamic learning in the 16th century. The old city is surrounded by a wall called the Jugol, built in the 16th century. The wall has 5 gates representing the 5 pillars of Islam. The narrow streets form a labyrinth where getting lost is inevitable for visitors. The houses are traditional Harari homes with colorful interiors and intricate designs. Arthur Rimbaud lived in Harar from 1880 to 1891 after abandoning poetry. He worked as a trader, dealing in coffee and weapons. His house is now a museum, preserving his sparse living quarters. The hyena men feed wild hyenas outside the city walls every night. The tradition started as appeasement, but became a tourist attraction. Men feed the hyenas by hand, with meat held between their teeth. Harar teaches that Islamic culture thrives in Ethiopia, that poets sometimes abandon art for commerce, that humans and hyenas can coexist through ritual feeding. Addis Ababa is Ethiopia's capital, sitting at 2,400 meters elevation. Founded in 1886 by Emperor Menelik II, the city is one of Africa's highest capital cities. The name means new flower in Amharic. The city is the diplomatic capital of Africa, hosting the African Union headquarters. The National Museum contains Lucy, a 3.2-million-year-old hominid skeleton discovered in 1974. Lucy is one of the most complete early human ancestors ever found. The skeleton is 40% complete, allowing scientists to understand early human bipedalism. The Holy Trinity Cathedral is the burial place of Emperor Haile Selassie, who ruled from 1930 to 1974. The cathedral contains beautiful stained glass windows and murals depicting Ethiopian saints. Mercato is the largest open-air market in Africa, covering several square kilometers. The market sells everything from spices to livestock to recycled materials. The energy is overwhelming, with thousands of vendors and shoppers. Addis Ababa teaches that high elevation creates comfortable climates. That human evolution happened here first. That markets are economic and social centers. That Ethiopia's capital reflects continental importance. The Konso cultural landscape is a UNESCO World Heritage Site in southern Ethiopia. The Konso people have lived here for over 400 years, creating an engineered landscape. The hillsides are covered with stone terraces built to prevent soil erosion and retain water. The terraces rise up the mountains, creating agricultural land where none naturally existed. The system is sophisticated with drainage channels and stone walls, built without mortar. The terraces are maintained by each generation, keeping the system functional for centuries. The Konso build wooden totems called waga to honor deceased leaders. The totems are carved with faces and stand in groups representing the dead person's wives and enemies he killed. The tradition is pre-Christian animist belief that survives today. The villages are fortified with stone walls and defensive gateways. The design protected against raids from neighboring groups. The Konso cultural landscape teaches that indigenous engineering transforms landscapes sustainably, that terracing prevents erosion in mountainous regions, that ancestor veneration takes many forms across cultures, that defense shaped traditional architecture throughout history. Simien Mountains National Park protects one of the most dramatic mountain landscapes in Africa. The mountains rise to 4,550 meters at Ras Dashen, Ethiopia's highest peak. The landscape is volcanic with jagged peaks, deep valleys, and sheer cliff faces dropping over 1,000 meters. The Simien Massif was formed by volcanic activity 25 million years ago and shaped by erosion. The endemic wildlife includes the Geralta baboon, found nowhere else on Earth. Geraltas live in groups of up to 600 individuals grazing on grass in alpine meadows. They have distinctive, heart-shaped red patches on their chests. The Ethiopian wolf is the world's rarest canid, with only 500 surviving. The wolves hunt rodents in the high-altitude grasslands. The Walia ibex is a wild goat living on cliff faces to escape predators. The park was established in 1969 to protect these endemic species. The hiking is exceptional, with trails ranging from day walks to multi-day treks. The views are spectacular, with landscapes often compared to the Grand Canyon. Simien Mountains teach that Africa has alpine ecosystems, that endemic species need protection from extinction, that volcanic landscapes create dramatic topography. The Danakil Depression is one of the hottest and most inhospitable places on Earth. The depression sits 125 meters below sea level in northeastern Ethiopia. Average temperatures exceed 45 degrees Celsius year-round, making it one of the hottest inhabited places. The Afar people live here herding animals and mining salt despite the extreme conditions. Dalol is a hydrothermal field with colorful mineral deposits creating an alien landscape. Sulfur, salt, and other minerals create pools of yellow, green, and orange. The formations constantly change as groundwater dissolves and redeposits minerals. Erta Ale is an active volcano with a persistent lava lake in its summit crater. The lava lake is one of only a few in the world glowing red at night. Climbing the volcano requires an overnight trek through volcanic desert. The salt caravans still operate as they have for centuries. Afar men cut salt blocks from the dried lake bed by hand. Camels carry the blocks hundreds of kilometers to market. The Danakil Depression teaches that humans adapt to extreme environments, that volcanic activity creates colorful landscapes, that ancient trade routes still function today. Bale Mountains National Park protects Afro-alpine habitat in southern Ethiopia. The mountains rise over 4,000 meters, with the Seneti Plateau being the largest continuous area above 3,000 meters in Africa. The plateau is vast grassland, punctuated by volcanic peaks. The Ethiopian wolf is the main reason for the park's protection. The wolves are highly specialized predators feeding on rodents endemic to the mountains. They hunt in packs across the open grasslands. Mountain Nyala, a large antelope endemic to Ethiopian highlands. The males have impressive spiraling horns and shaggy coats. The Harar forest on the southern slopes is one of the largest remaining montane forests in Ethiopia. The forest transitions from bamboo at higher elevations to tropical rainforest at lower elevations. The diversity is exceptional, with over 260 bird species. The park offers excellent hiking with trails across the plateau. Camping is permitted with stunning views of stars from high elevation. Bale Mountains teach that Ethiopia has diverse ecosystems within small areas, that endemic species concentrate in highland regions, that Afro-alpine habitat is rare and fragile, that mountain forests create biodiversity hotspots throughout the region. The Omo Valley in southwestern Ethiopia is home to numerous indigenous groups maintaining traditional lifestyles. Over 20 ethnic groups live in the valley, speaking different languages. The Mursi are known for the clay plates worn in the lower lips by women. The practice begins in adolescence, with the lip gradually stretched over months. Larger plates supposedly indicate higher bride prices, though the tradition is fading. The Harar are pastoral people, known for bull-jumping ceremonies marking the transition to adulthood. Young men must run across the backs of bulls 4 times without falling. Success means they can marry and own cattle. The Karo practice elaborate body painting using white chalk, yellow mineral rock, and iron ore. The designs are artistic and symbolic, representing beauty and status. The Dasanak live along the Omo River, practicing flood retreat agriculture. They plant crops on riverbanks after the annual flood recedes. Tourism brings income, but also threatens traditional ways of life. The Omo Valley teaches that cultural diversity is concentrated in remote regions, that body modification is ancient artistic expression, that ceremonies mark important life transitions across all cultures. The Geralta Mountains in Debre contain over 120 rock-hewn churches built between the 4th and 15th centuries. The churches are carved into cliff faces at heights requiring difficult climbs to reach. Many churches are accessible only by climbing vertical rock faces, using handholds and footholds carved into the stone. Abuna Yamata Gu is the most dramatic church, sitting at the top of a vertical cliff. Reaching the church requires climbing a sheer rock face without ropes or safety equipment. The final approach crosses a narrow ledge with a 200-meter drop. The church interior contains well-preserved frescoes depicting biblical scenes in vibrant colors. Mariam Korkor sits at 2,500 meters elevation with spectacular views across the valley. The church has large columns carved from the living rock. The Geralta region is remote, with villages practicing subsistence agriculture. The landscape is rugged with sandstone formations in red and orange colors. The Geralta Mountains teach that faith motivates extreme efforts, that churches in inaccessible locations protected religious communities from invasion, that frescoes survive centuries in dry climates, that pilgrimage requires physical challenge alongside spiritual devotion throughout history. Sof Omar Cave is the longest cave system in Ethiopia, stretching over 15 kilometers. The cave was formed by the Web River, cutting through limestone over millions of years. The river still flows through the cave, creating an underground river passage. The cave has religious significance in both Islamic and traditional Oromo belief systems. The cave is named after Sheikh Sof Omar, an Islamic scholar who used the cave for worship in the 12th century. Before Islam, the Oromo people considered the cave sacred, using it for ceremonies. The cave contains 42 entrances and numerous chambers with impressive stalactites and stalagmites. Walking through the cave requires wading through water in some sections. The largest chamber, the Chamber of Columns, has massive limestone pillars reaching from floor to ceiling. Natural light enters through holes in the ceiling, creating dramatic lighting effects. The cave is remote, requiring a difficult journey to reach. The surrounding area is inhabited by Oromo herders living in traditional ways. Sof Omar Cave teaches that water carves limestone, creating spectacular caves, that sacred sites can be shared between religions, that natural formations inspire religious reverence across different cultural beliefs. Debre Damo is a monastery sitting atop a flat-topped mountain in Tigray. The monastery was founded in the 6th century by Abuna Aragawi, one of the 9 saints. Legend says Aragawi was carried to the summit by a giant serpent sent by God. The monastery sits on a plateau, accessible only by climbing a 15-meter rope. Visitors must climb the rope hand over hand without assistance or safety equipment. Women are forbidden from entering the monastery following ancient traditions. The rule has never been changed in 1,500 years of operation. The monastery contains the oldest standing church structure in Ethiopia, built in the 6th century. The church is constructed from alternating layers of wood and stone called monkey heads construction. The technique makes buildings earthquake-resistant, which is why the church survived. The monastery houses ancient manuscripts and crosses valuable to Ethiopian Christianity. Monks live on the summit, maintaining religious traditions, unchanged for centuries. Debre Damo teaches that isolation preserves traditions and manuscripts, that rope climbing is spiritual test and physical barrier, that ancient construction techniques were sophisticated, that gender restrictions persist in some religious communities despite modernity. The Blue Nile Gorge is a massive canyon carved by the Blue Nile River flowing from Lake Tana. The gorge is over 400 kilometers long and up to 1,600 meters deep. Some call it the Grand Canyon of Africa, though it's less known internationally. The Blue Nile provides 85% of the Nile's water during the rainy season. The river begins at Lake Tana and flows through the gorge towards Sudan. The Tis Isat Falls, meaning smoking water in Amharic, is 40 meters high. The falls were more impressive before the Chara Chara Weir diverted water for hydroelectric power. The Portuguese bridge was built in the 17th century by Portuguese Jesuits. The stone bridge still stands, though it's no longer used for vehicles. Driving through the gorge requires descending switchback roads carved into the cliff walls. The views are spectacular, but the roads are challenging. Villages cling to the steep slopes, practicing terrace agriculture. Geralta baboons live on the cliff faces in large troops. The Blue Nile Gorge teaches that rivers carve deep canyons over millions of years, that water resources are contested between conservation and development, that infrastructure crosses difficult terrain through engineering persistence. Lake Langano is one of Ethiopia's Rift Valley lakes, popular for swimming and water sports. The lake is unique because the water is safe for swimming, unlike most Ethiopian lakes. The brown color comes from high mineral content rather than pollution. The color is caused by suspended volcanic minerals, giving it an unusual appearance. The lake is surrounded by acacia woodland and volcanic landscapes. Hot springs near the shore are used by local people for bathing. The area is relatively developed, with resorts offering accommodation and water activities. Birdwatching is excellent, with over 300 species recorded around the lake. Fish eagles are common hunting along the shoreline. The lake supports fishing communities using traditional methods. Abijata Shala National Park borders the lake, protecting wildlife and habitat. Greater kudu and warthogs are common in the acacia woodland. The park contains lakes Abijata and Shala with flamingos on the shoreline. Lake Langano teaches that volcanic minerals create unique water chemistry, that not all lakes harbor dangerous parasites or pathogens, that tourism development provides economic opportunities for communities, that multiple lakes in close proximity can have very different characteristics and ecological conditions. The Tomb of Adam in Axum is a massive stone tomb, claimed to be the burial place of Adam from Genesis. Ethiopian tradition holds that Adam was buried here after his death. The tomb is a large granite structure similar to the stelae found throughout Axum. The claim is not historically supported, but reflects Ethiopia's deep connection to biblical history. Ethiopian Christianity maintains unique traditions and beliefs different from other Christian denominations. The tradition that Adam is buried in Ethiopia emphasizes the country's special place in biblical narrative. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church claims Ethiopia is mentioned in the Bible more than any country except Israel. The tradition of being the chosen land runs deep in Ethiopian identity. The Church maintains that Ethiopia was blessed because the Ark of the Covenant resides here. The Queen of Sheba is claimed as Ethiopian royalty, connecting the kingdom to Solomon. These traditions shape Ethiopian understanding of their place in religious history. The Tomb of Adam teaches that religious traditions create national identity, that biblical connections matter deeply to communities, that claims to religious artifacts and figures strengthen cultural heritage. That tradition sometimes matters more than historical verification for belief systems maintaining faith across generations. The Great Rift Valley runs through Ethiopia from north to south, creating dramatic landscapes. The valley is part of the East African Rift System, where tectonic plates are slowly pulling apart. The process began 25 million years ago and continues today. Eventually, the rift will widen enough for the sea to flood, in creating a new ocean. The valley floor sits up to 2,000 meters below the surrounding highlands. The Rift Valley lakes are a chain of lakes formed in the valley floor. The lakes vary from freshwater to highly alkaline, depending on location and drainage. Lake Awasa is freshwater, supporting fishing communities around its shores. Lake Abijata is alkaline with high concentrations of minerals. Flamingos feed in the shallow water, filtering algae and small organisms. The valley contains numerous hot springs and geothermal features, indicating volcanic activity. Volcanic cones dot the landscape, some dormant and others potentially active. The Ethiopian Rift Valley is one of the best places to study continental rifting. Scientists study the area to understand how continents break apart. The Rift Valley teaches that tectonic forces shape continents over millions of years, that rift valleys eventually become oceans given sufficient time, that volcanic activity accompanies continental rifting, creating geothermal resources. You have witnessed Ethiopia beyond the images of famine and poverty. From churches carved from solid rock to castles rivaling European fortresses. From ancient obelisks weighing hundreds of tons to mountains where endemic wolves hunt. From the hottest place on Earth to alpine grasslands at 4,000 meters, you understand now that Ethiopia is the only African nation never colonized, that Christianity here predates most of Europe, that human ancestors walked here leaving fossils that rewrote our understanding of evolution, that kingdoms minted coins and built monuments when much of the world was illiterate. If this journey opened your eyes, subscribe now, hit that bell. Share this with someone who needs to see Ethiopia beyond the headlines. Tell us which place amazed you most. Ethiopia preserves what the rest of the world lost. Churches still use liturgy in Ge'ez, a language dead everywhere else. Communities maintain traditions unchanged for centuries. Coffee ceremonies happen 3 times daily, as they have for generations. The Orthodox Church keeps faith alive through fasting and devotion. Ethiopia will remain what it has always been, the land that time forgot, but never forgot itself. The ancient civilization that proved Africa's greatness when the world refused to see it. Thank you for traveling with us.